Hello and welcome to the Gallifreyan transcription explanation of this design. It was done using Brittany Goodman's Doctor's Caught Gallifreyan. It's a fan-made script designed to look like the imagery from the show on an episode of Good Man Goes to War on the Doctor's Caught. Anyway, this is a phonetic script, so the first thing I do is I transcribe it into phonetics. I use phonetics.com and just type in your text here, and then it spits out the phonetic transcription of what these sounds are that make these words. So this is just a list of sounds that the computer's going to read to you, and this is what it sounds like.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Which sounds a lot like what we want. So anyway, if this phonetically keys out to this, it'll be good, which is exciting. So anyway, this will kind of be like our benchmark, our check reference point. I'm not gonna explain all these different consonants since there's a lot of them because it's phonetic, and half the vowels are hidden too. But everything we need is in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go through this design. It reads left to right. So this is our leftmost circle. It's just a start circle. A thick thin is a start circle. Here's our first word circle. Word circles are denoted by a double line, and the lines can be any thickness or thinness, whatever, if it's just denoting a word. So this thick and thin line is just our word circle. And then you read biggest consonant chunk to smallest consonant chunk. So here's our biggest consonant chunk. So this big circle would continue around to be the biggest circle of these three. And you read outer to inner. So you always read the vowel last, even if it's like located between the two. The vowel's always last. So you can only do consonant vowel, not vowel consonant. So anyway, this thick line is a thick line. And there's one line modifying it. So it is this. So one line going to the inner circle. So that's an S. And there's no new modifiers, so it's just one consonant. So there's our S. Okay. And then we have a vowel on it. It is a thick line and on our inner circle. So on our inner circle, thick line overlapping. So it is that little A thing. Okay. And then we have our next medium-sized consonant chunk, and the outer circle has an open dot and a closed dot on a thick line. So thick line, open dot, closed dot, that's an M. Okay, and here's our inner consonant chunk, and it has a thick line with one dot. So thick line, one dot, thick line, one dot. So that is the TH. And then we have our vowel. So it is a double thin line, and it's located between our inner and outer consonant chunk. So it is here. So it's that capital I thing. And then last but not least, we have our smallest consonant chunk, which is a thin line with a line passing underneath our center circle. So like this. So thin line passing underneath. So that's an NG. Okay, so something is a word. This is the word something, or the sounds that put together and say something. And here's our next word. We have our biggest circle here. Now, it starts with a vowel sound. So that means we have to start it with like a nothing. So we have a thick, thin, and an open, closed dot. So open, closed dot on thick, thin is that nothing symbol. It doesn't make any sound, which allows a consonant to be like the first sound in a word. So here we have a thick on our inner sentence circle. So on the inner consonant circle, and a thick, thin, no, double thick. So that's the upside down E thing. Okay, cool. So that's just the first sound there. And then here we have our next sound. And it is that open, closed, thick, thin, nothing again. And we have a thick, thin, and it overlaps on top of our center consonant circle. So it's like this. And it's a thick, thin, so there's that upside down U, that pointy U thing. Okay. And now we have our next chunk. Okay. So this one is different because there's a lot of modifiers going on. There's both a line passing through and two open dots. So to figure out which goes with which, you kind of match. So this line is a double line, so it means it goes with the outer double circle. These two are just a single line, thick line, so it goes with the middle one. You can also denote that by how close they are to things or how far away they are from things, just like this was closer here and these were closer here. Anyway, so this double line, line passing underneath our center circle, goes with our double thin line. So it is an L. And then last but not least, we have a thick circle with two open dots, D. So LD. Cool. So this is could, old. That's how you make the old like the kind of double O. Anyway, okay, something old. And then we have a thin, 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 thin. This is just a comma, so there's our comma. And then we have our next word. So it's just a something again. I'm not going to kind of key it out. I'm just going to point out how it's the same between these two. So here's our biggest circle, just like this is our biggest circle. Here's the S line. And I have it pass through here. It doesn't really do anything if it passes through into the word circle, just to help aesthetics. And then here's the this thing, and then we have open, close on thick, open, close on thick. And we have our double thin between the two, and then a single dot on the middle one. Okay. And then we have our line passing behind our thin NG. So something. Here's another something. And then we have our next one. Okay. So this is another stacked consonant. So we have a double line. So this bent one goes with this double line. So double thin with a bent line. Double thin with a bent line is the N. Okay. And then we have the Y sound, like new. So we have a thin circle with a bent. So thin, single, bent. So that's the J. So that's actually not a J sound, it's a Y sound because reasons. So we have that. Okay, and then we have a vowel sound. So it's a thin line on our words, on our inner circle. So thin line on inner circle, and we have that U. Sweet. So it's new. Okay, and then this center line's up here, and this is actually the next center of circle we hit. So even though this one overlaps before this one, you read this one next, which is a period. Thick, thin, thick, thin, thick. Opposite of a start is a period. So here's our period. So something old, something new. Period. Here we have another something. I did all the something slightly different just to keep it a bit more interesting. So I have biggest circle here. It's the S with the and then we have the E, just like here. Smallest one. This one to open, close on thick, thick with a single dot, and then double thin. Okay, so that's a something. Okay, now we have borrowed. Okay, this is a complicated word. So this is outer word circle, and this is the next biggest thing. This one here is bigger. Next, next, next. This one's a four-chonker. Okay, so we have a thick, thin with two dots, two open dots. So thick, thin, two open dots. Okay, there's our B. Okay, now we have no new modifiers for the inner one, just a vowel, so it's on our inner circle, and it has a thin, thick. So thin, thick is that bottom one. It's that upside down A thing. Okay, cool. And then we go to our next chunk. This is our next biggest chunk, and it is a thick with a line passing behind it. Thick line passing behind it. That's our, so this has a right side up R. This is where things go kind of different here. This right side up R is just kind of like a typo. This program, I know it does. It writes a right side up out, but that's a trill. And this is a trill. This is a r, and it's definitely a r, not a trill. Anyway, that's kind of a discrepancy between these two. Trust me on it. The right side up R is supposed to be a trill, and it's not borrowed. It's just borrowed, not with the trill. You can check on the phonetic alphabet. This is just a weird typo thing it does here. I don't know. Anyway. It's supposed to be an R because it is an R. That upside down R goes not r. Anyway. Okay, so R, and then we have the O. So the first bit, the upside down E thing. So thin, thin on our inner circle, double thin. That should be double thick. I gotta fix it. I'm just gonna fix it. You're gonna have to deal with this video. Having me fix a thing. Sorry. Let me minimize this. Open this. You'll just have to deal with this. I'm not gonna re-record the first little bit. That's why I do this. It's mostly to find typos. What layer do I have it on? I have it on this layer. Okay, cool. Let me go in here. So I'm trying to get that upside down E thing, which is a double thick. Boom. Paintbrush, big, wee. Let me shrink it. Thick. No, I need to make it bigger. This is kind of a, little insight to my process here, by the way. So go you, looking at how I do this. Okay. Because I need it to be bigger so I can have them both be thick. Thick. And that's still slightly thinner. By the way, this is what I go through to draw all of the things on the thing. Lots of making circles, shrinking circles, erasing circles. There we go. Okay, sweet. Neat. Okay, I'm just going to keep it open in GIMP in case I have to edit anything. Now I'm going to export it back out so I can have it easy to look at. Sorry about this little delay. But I'm glad I found my typo. Yay! Okay, now we have a thick overlapping little one. Yay, that's the upside down thing. Yay, okay, cool. Okay, now we go to our next one, which this is the next smallest, so big, second big, medium, small, small. Okay, so we have a nothing because it's an open closed on a thick thin. So thick thin, open closed, and now we have a thick thin, overlapping, thick thin. There's our U thing. And then last but not least, we have a thick single line with 2 open dots. Sweet, that's a D. Cool, borrowed. And now we have another something. Well, here's the comma. We borrowed comma. And then we have, this is our biggest one, thick S, just like this one, with an O, just like this one. And then M, open, closed on a thick boy. And then a TH with a single dot, just like all of these, and then double thin because of the I. Yay, okay. And then we have our NG, something, cool. This something is correct, yay. And then we have our last thing. Okay, here is, oh, by the way, so I know how I said a double, the outside of a word doesn't matter, unless it's part of the word. So this is just a one chunk word, just like this is a one chunk word, so the outside needs to be the correct consonant. So thick, thin. Here we have thick, thin, and this double line must go with this one because it's double thin. If this line went with this one, it would be thick, thin, plus these 2 dots are close to the outside, so it's got to be the 2 dots on this one. So 2 open dots on a thick, thin is a B. Yay, because we're on this word, B. And then we have thin, thin with a thin, thin line passing underneath it, so that's our L. And then we have a single thin circle on our inner line. That is our U. Yay! One typo to fix. God, I found it. That's why I do this recording. Not just so you can see it, but just so I go through and make sure it's all correct. So yeah, it says
something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Yay!